I've always said I have no regrets skipping out on events that could have tempted me into substances, and I stand by that. But here's the twist. Sometimes I wish I'd said yes. Not to the parties, but to the actual thing itself. This is the first in a recurring series I'm going to try doing where I flip my usual script and look at the 5% of my choices I do wonder about. But before we get into all that, be sure to give this video a like, comment things you wish you'd done differently in your life if you're comfortable with sharing that. Don't forget to also subscribe for cultural commentary and rants from a man caught between generations. And last but certainly not least, feel free to join me at the Zillennial Nexus Point Discord. Link will be in the description below. Anyway, there are things, situations in my past, things I wish I could have done on Saturday nights that instead of my Saturday movie that I wish I'd move the Saturday movie up earlier in the day, like I did for my movie theater work shifts back when I had to work on the Saturday nights. And even recently, long after I stopped working there, I can still shift it around. Like the Saturday I went to see Jaws the Mugar Omni Theater. I watched my actual Saturday movie first thing in the morning because Jaws did not qualify, being a movie I'd already seen, and the charter still says at home for now. Last year, there's the Saturday I went to the Harry Potter exhibit, the aquarium, and then my grandparents' house on the same day. I decided to just move the Saturday movie up to first thing in the morning so that I could clear my day and not have to worry about getting home by a certain time. I've proven I could have adjusted. Well, I did adjust at some points. Like the Saturday I left for my 2013 Florida trip, I watched Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 in the afternoon so that I could, because I had the flight that night. Hey, it was my mom's idea, not mine. But yeah, the real block wasn't my scheduling, it was my mindset around it. Like, I had to watch it at night with ideal lighting, which I still prefer to do for at least the first time around. That's why I have no qualms with the Saturday movie being in the afternoon for my theater trips because there is no outdoor light to worry about. That brings me to the main story at long last. My friends were involved in high school and college plays, and I only dabbled via a pre recorded voice role in freshman year of college. True story. So at the time, I didn't want to be told what to do. I wanted evenings and weekends free for TV, movies, video games. Well, weekends more for leisurely activities, and then evenings for TV and movies because of the light situation. And my parents, not, well, my dad at least, not being a fan of me playing video games or watching TV during the daytime. I also wanted to finish homework right after school, or classes in the case of college, to avoid the late night struggles I witnessed my siblings go through when they would do their sports or other activities, but then they'd have to do their homework later at night. And I also found out through word of mouth that cast parties for these sometimes involved drinking. And I'm glad I dodged that temptation. Little side story. One of my friends actually ditched a high school role and then later played the same role for real in college. It was our senior musical in high school. I don't know how many high schools do that, but ours did. I didn't participate, obviously, and my friend dropped out of the particular role because he didn't like it. But then, senior year of college, he was in the same musical, and so he actually got that same role. You could say it was a nice little redemption story. Looking back, I have realized that I could have done a play and just skipped the cast parties. I mean, my sister, who was involved in this kind of thing, she actually had a friend who wasn't big on parties, and she actually went out of her way to go with her to do something else, which is very admirable. My problem isn't necessarily with parties, It's more about when it involves substances. That's the sober cell way. Losing a bit of video game and TV time would not have been catastrophic, though I would have drawn the line at the Saturday movie. Of course, it was a lot harder to just watch it whenever I saw fit back then because I had to negotiate for the TV. I would have had to be like, hey, I want to watch my movie first thing in the morning because I have these things going on, so I want to clear the day. The reason I didn't just watch it really late into the night is because if I finish it after midnight, then it's technically Sunday, and technically at that point, it's not a Saturday movie anymore because I finished it on Sunday. The experience of performance itself might have been worth it, beyond just the recording voice role for that one play. Hey, I can say I did that, and it wasn't my idea. They insisted. Anyway, it wasn't just avoiding substances. It was an avoidance of risk, structure, and being uncomfortable. I stand by my refusal to drink or be around people who drink. I do not regret avoiding the temptation or the anxiety of deciding whether to snitch on people for having alcohol. I think ultimately I probably would have because that's kind of how I was. But also, I strongly disapprove of drinking and substances in general. Therefore, I probably would have done that anyway, and to cover my butt so that I didn't get in trouble. Throw hate at me in the comments down below if you'd like, but I firmly stand by my beliefs on that. You can also blame the video that I fainted watching in health class that solidified my hatred of alcohol because of how it showed the ramifications of drunk driving. And this was on people who didn't drink, by the way. These are the people who were hit by the drunk driver. Anyway, I should stop talking about that before I get worked up. However, I do regret missing the activity itself, being in a play, even once. I could blame that health class video. I could blame my siblings' homework struggles, or the school system for giving homework in the first place instead of using class time to teach the classwork and then be like, hey, everybody, you don't have to do homework, but we strongly encourage you to explore your interests beyond just sitting in front of a screen and playing video games. I could blame any of those. However, if you've watched this channel long enough, I think you know what I'm going to say, but I am going to say it again. I only have myself to blame. At the end of the day, I own it. I made those choices, and I accept the consequences 95% with pride, 5% with curiosity. Anyway, this is the first in a story of what I plan to make a series of re examining my past, not to undo it, but to admit where I could have done more. Next time, I'll talk about any suggestions you have in the comments to help me think about more things I can talk about for this particular sub-series. Anyway, that's going to do it for the video. Be sure to give it a like, subscribe for cultural commentary and rants from a man caught between generations, and last, but certainly not least, feel free to join me at the Zillennial Nexus Point Discord. Link will be in the description below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.